we get our mind right? Why do we only think about shit when it's hindsight? When the cup gets full and all we carry is gold, only thing we do is get used to the limelight. But then the karma sets in and we're left where the mess is. I guess I learned some lessons. Mom and Dad, I want you to know I learned them all. And when I make it big, you can say I didn't fall. And when I got signed, I thought I was good. Now I'm older and I'm wiser, just like I should be. And I'm slipping out of the habit, looking at life like two sides of a magnet. Yeah, so I'm trying to track the opposite. Maybe we could rise if we try to fly a bit. There's a reason why the glass full. We could use it only if we see it half full.
So I'm back at my work desk right now from my trip to Vienna. I had a great time there. I think you saw everything in the videos, in the vlogs, and I hope you liked them. Maybe also watch them from the start on. And now that I'm back, I want to answer your questions because I asked you on Twitter and on the second vlog, I think, to send me questions. So the first question comes from Chris. He's asking, if you could relearn design from the very beginning, what would you do differently? Now that I'm working as a UX designer for over a year, I know that it's so important to have some background in development, because you need to understand your developers who are trying, or who are not only trying but successfully doing a transformation of your designs into a real app or program. So it really helps me to understand how they feel. It helps me to understand what difficulties they are facing and what problems they have. If you have some background, if you have some knowledge and some skill in development. For me, that wasn't really a problem, because I know like HTML and CSS, but if I could relearn it from the beginning, I would also try to get some knowledge in, for example, Java or JavaScript or something like that, to get a deeper understanding of their problems and of their thinking. Because sometimes developers are like, I can't really transform this design or this animation into a real app. And as a designer, you normally feel like disappointed at some point, and you could really understand them better if you're into this programming and development a lot more. So the second question is, do guidelines like material design ever try to hold back on the creativity of designers? I feel it's too strict sometimes. That's also a very good question. So for example, the material design guidelines, which are kind of good explained, they are well written and everyone can read them. They are easy to understand for designers and for developers. And of course, guidelines always restrict your creativity. But I think it's important to have certain guidelines, not maybe for the designer, because it, as I said, restricts your creativity, but for users who need a certain environment that they feel comfortable in. That's very important, because for example, if you are in a city that you've never been in, or in a country, and you're trying to find like a supermarket or something where you can buy water, then it would be kind of helpful for you that it's easily understandable for you, like for example with signs on the street or and so on, to see that this market or this house basically has water in their current offer. So it's actually necessary to have these guidelines for us designers, so we can build better solutions for the users that are using the operating system, and it's just necessary to have a safe and constant environment for users. Another question is, what's the biggest challenge you've ever faced during a project? This is also a very interesting question, because I had one situation that was really like the worst situations of all. The thing is that I'm from Germany and I work with clients like from the US, from Egypt, from any other country from Europe before. And the thing is, the German law of course differs from other laws. And in this special project, the problem was copyright. I made a contract for this client and some of the copyright things were mentioned in this contract, and he really saw a problem in this copyright thing. Because the copyright law in Germany is like a right of use, so you have a right to use what people created, but it's not like you can transfer the copyright of a certain website, of a certain design from one person to another person. That's just not possible. That sounds weird to you maybe if you have this right to transfer copyrights from one person to another, or from one company to another company, but in Germany you cannot. That doesn't really have to be a problem if you tell the client that he has all the rights, the exclusive rights to use the design, nobody else gets it. So if you communicate that the design was really made just for him, nobody else gets to see it or gets the copyright of it. But this client didn't really want to understand that I'm not able to change the law. I have to live according to the law, and I have to keep this in the contract. I can't change it, but that was really the end of the project. He wasn't going to continue the project. I don't know for what reason actually, because this was the only problem, and this was only a formal problem, not really a problem for me. This would have been his design, but not mine, of a different client. But still, he wanted to cancel the project. And sometimes you have these clients who have maybe a problem with the contract and so on. And I really say, create contracts that have contracts that cover many points and also copyright. And the last question is, what are the best ways to overcome creative blocks? That's also a great question, because sometimes as a designer you have these creative blocks and you don't really create great designs. You just create normal designs or the average level, and you are not really happy about the results that come out. And of course I have some methods that I'm using if I have a problem with creative blocks. And one of these methods is that I just go out, I'm looking for a nice place in the nature where I see birds, animals, a forest or something like that, which is amazing because you can come down there, you are able to relax, and you are able to get inspired by the nature. And the nature inspired technology a lot. So this is really a great method to just calm down and to get inspired by the nature. But of course I also look on websites for inspiration. If I'm working on a web design project, for example, I would just go to portfolio websites where people show their portfolio, where people show beautiful websites. And of course I also just go to Dribbble and get some information there when it comes to, for example, iOS user interfaces, when it comes to animations in user interfaces and so on. So that's the second best source for creative inspiration for me. But sometimes you just have this creative block and you can do what you want, but you can't overcome it. And there I have to say, don't put so much pressure on yourself. You're just a designer and a creative person, and this can happen to you. And sometimes you don't really have the ability to change this current situation. You have this creative block and you can't change it. So don't really put a lot of pressure on yourself, just calm down and try to create the best possible design that you can. And if it's not the best design that you've ever made, then it is like that. You're just a person, just a human, and if you put pressure on yourself even more, then this will probably not keep you going forward, but this will keep you going backward. So thanks guys for asking these nice questions. I hope you liked my vlogs that I made. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you also get more and more of an idea what kind of person I am. Yeah, because these vlogs are just also a way that I'm expressing myself. And I want you to get to know me, and I want to get to know you also. So just head down to the comment section of this video and write down something about you, maybe write down questions that I should answer in the next video. You can also tweet them to me at maxco on Twitter or at sketchapp.tv. The links are also down in the video description. And yeah, I hope to do a video like this in a few weeks again, because I like to answer your questions and I know that you have a lot of questions, so keep them posted. And thanks for watching the videos, thanks for your support. I hope you enjoyed it and have a nice day.
So I'm looking for the opposite. Maybe we could rise if we try to fly a bit. There's a reason why the glass full. We could use it only if we see it half full.